Good day. My name is Charles Kindreding Gracia, student of Mindanao State University, Maigo School of Arts and Trades, taking up the course Bachelor of Education, major in elementary education. So now I'm going to discuss the pre and during reading activities. In the pre-reading activities, also includes the pre-reading strategies wherein it serves as a tool or a guide for the teacher uh, on developing the uh, reading of the learner. So, pre-reading strategies are learning approaches designed to help give your child structure, guidance, and background knowledge before they begin exploring a new text. So, actually, this is strategies that which has the main goal uh, to uh, the reading comprehension skills by giving them the tools they need to become active, successful readers. So this it has a main goal to become the readers become successful. So the basic pre-reading strategies, we have three uh, strategies, which is the previewing, the purpose, and the predictions. So under the previewing, it means letting your child gather clues from the book's title, uncover illustrations, inside illustrations, and maybe the table of contents for older children to try to figure out what might happen or what they might learn in a book they're about to hear or read. So here in the previewing, involves the uh, this involves clues or what are the possible things or possible content of the story, and you're asked the learners if what he or she think might happen in the story. So in the purpose, if you have time, it's always great to put aside a moment of for mindfulness. Before reading with your child, talk with them about what reading goals they still want to achieve. So here in the purpose, being a teacher is you have to emphasize that every reading activity includes the purpose. So that this is actually the main goal or the center of the reading. So you also ask the learners of what are the reading goals they still want to achieve. So under the predictions, using the resources available to your child, see if they can make predictions about what might happen in the story before they get a chance to read anything, or what informations can they gather just using the title, cover, and illustrations. Then you both might continue predicting as the story unfolds. So under the predictions, it is a little bit the same with the first part, which is the previewing. So under the predictions, from the very word itself, uh, you're predicting to what might happen in the story, what would be the flow of the story. So uh, here, then you both might continue predicting as the story unfolds. So the teacher will also ask the learners what would probably happen, and also you're both has a questioning mind. So both of you question what will happen to the story. So the activities. So the first is speaking in questions. This is a fun activity that helps your child become more insightful about the text they're reading while letting them be silly too. So you have to give the child of what they like, or what are their insights about the text they're reading. So the goal here is for your child to investigate the things they want to know. So the child's wants to know or might know or aren't sure about just by looking at the cover of the text. So the KWLH chart. So according to my research, so this strategy or this learning activity is being used since 1980s. So the K column is reserved for things your child already knows about the subject of a book or its story. The key here is activating and then reflecting on their prior knowledge. Then the W category is for what your child wants to know about the story and what are they curious about. And the L is what they learned. So the L here is stands for the learned from the story, and H columns how they can find out more. So these are reserved for discussing after you've finished reading. Next is pre-teach vocabulary. If you know that the book you'll be reading together will challenge your child's current reading skills, consider teaching them a handful of the more challenging words ahead of your reading time. So, under the pre-teach vocabulary, from the word itself, vocabulary, and pre, so you're introducing some words where they are not familiar with until such time that you're going to create meaning so that they can uh, identify, or they are able to know the meaning of that text or word. So the pre-teach themes, to get your child mind focused on the theme of the book, you could prompt there by discussing the same moral lesson. See what their initial opinion is about it. do, do they have a strong sense of it already, or they want to learn more? So under the pre-teach themes, you have to always focus, or uh, keep them focus on, or keep on making them focus and also gaining their attention to the book they're trying to read, and also trying to incorporate another story that has uh, a same lesson or same moral lesson, so that they can uh, compare some things about just a little bit differences about the story. So reading the book can either confirm or change your opinion, and then you have something to talk about when you're finished reading. So word bingo, this is actually optional, but uh, it could be necessary or not for the teacher, but I just included here in my PowerPoint presentation. So if you'd like to try this pre-reading activity, create a bingo sheet for each of you using word from the text before your reading time. Every time you and your child hears or sees a word that matches on your sheet, place a sticker on it. So sentence obstacle course, this pre-reading activity is great for encouraging your child's comprehension and sentence formulation. The stronger grasp they have on learning how to construct words into sentences, the faster they adjust to the flow and structure of the stories. So under the sentence obstacle course, it's just like the teacher uh, writing some words on the board in an unarranged way. So, and you're trying to ask the learners to arrange the words to make a sentence. So, the faster they adjust to the flow and to the structure of the stories. So, they're now developing, they're learning how to construct words into sentences. Anticipation versus reality. This method will help take some of those preliminary questions you and your child came up with and figure out what happens in the end. And last is the origin of the story. There are so many things you can learn from books just from discovering a little bit around about their backgrounds. For example, tons of writers pull from their real lives for inspiration to write their books. So under the origin of the story, it actually emphasized the credibility of the book and also of the author. So uh, even if they are a child, you have to teach them about the credibility of a book. During reading activities, the reader begins to read the written text. The during reading phase, while he or she reads, the reader will think about the purpose of reading and about his or her prior knowledge. So this would be probably happen to the learners. So they read, pause and think about what you're reading, monitor comprehension, use active reading strategies, reread. So, uh, reread is very important because we actually believe that practice makes perfect. Take notes, pause and check predictions, make new predictions, ask yourself questions. What happened? Why did it happen? Does this make sense? Do I understand? So pause and summarize, visualize, and of course, the most important thing is you think. Remember, the number of while reading activities that you can do in the classroom depend on the creativity of the teacher. So it uh, basically depends to the option of the teacher and what strategies he or she might use. So you can use while reading activities which are based on traditional forms of assessment, or you can implement some technology if you're good enough integrating it in the classes. So uh, in the modern days, uh, or I mean uh, nowadays, a teacher must be literate, computer literate, or I mean ICT literate, because the more uh, you are literate with the technology, uh, the more knowledge you can impart to your learners. First is identify topic sentences. The main idea of the paragraph is the author's message about the topic. Remember that every paragraph usually includes a topic sentence that identifies the main idea of the paragraph. Number two is general and specific ideas. Distinguish between general and specific ideas. So, the general ideas usually express the main point or main idea of a piece of writing, and specific ideas provide evidence to further define the general or main idea and prove that it is valid. So under the general ideas, so it is actually the main point or the main idea of the story. For example, uh, that is the moral lesson of that particular story. So the specific ideas is actually the supplement or the supplementary evidences that proves that that is actually the moral of the story. Identify the connector. So this is very important by using the different conjunctions or linking words grouped by category. So number four is confirm predictions. Check whether or not predictions and guesses are confirmed. This is something that can be done when a reading class might start with one of these pre-reading activities. Number five, skim a text per specific information. So skimming is the ability to locate the main idea within a text. Using the reading strategy will help students to become proficient readers. Skimming reading will also help students to be a flexible leader. Answer literal and inferential questions. Literal simply refers to what the text says, and inferential is using the text as a starting point to get a deeper meaning. So number seven is inferring. Another while listening activity consists of inferring the meaning of new words using the context. All language learners rely on context to decipher the meaning of a word. A reading strategy used quite a lot when you do extensive reading. Number 8, coding text. It involves teaching students a method of margin marking so they can place a question mark next to a statement they don't understand or an exclamation mark next to something that surprised them. Number 9, learner to learner conversation. This is very important. This is actually a peer to peer conversation between reader and another reader. So it promotes the integration of two more skills since you read a paragraph, you talk to a classmate, and you listen to what he or she has to say. Number 10, scan a text for specific information. This is also very important because it texts quickly in order to find specific information. Number 11, answer a short quiz. This is the traditional way to assess if the students have learned something from the reading. However, you can make a difference by using online tools to collect those learners. So, basically, assessment is very important. This is the way of testing the level of understanding of the learners if they actually learn or they have uh, confusions. So here in the assessment, the teacher is able to also to test if the learning activity or the learning process is a growth or maybe a declined. Conclusion: if you want to use this reading strategy successfully, you need to understand how the reading material is structured as well as have a clear idea about what specific information you have to locate. That is my references. Thank you for listening.